never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
Donald Trump is freaking out on social media right now over the whole Epstein story. He's begging Republicans to stop talking about it. He's directing the DOJ to investigate other people and their ties to Epstein, just not his. It's crazy. At 9:30 this morning, Donald Trump said the Democrats are doing everything in their withering power to push the Epstein hoax. He's calling it a hoax again, which is so offensive to all of the Epstein victims who certainly didn't experience a hoax. Then he said some weak Republicans have fallen into their clutches because they are soft and foolish. Epstein was a Democrat. He is the Democrats' problem, not the Republicans' problem. Ask Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers about Epstein. They know about him. Don't waste your time with Trump. I have a country to run. I don't know. It kind of seems like a Republican problem. Nobody was better friends with Epstein than Donald Trump. Then he continued that rage at 10:35, announcing that he's asking Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI to investigate Epstein's involvement and relationship with Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan Chase, and many other people to determine what's going on with them and him. So there are photos and videos of Trump and Epstein. He's written birthday cards to him. There are emails talking about him and how he knew about the girls and everything like that. But Donald Trump wants other people investigated, just not him. It's a very clear distraction tactic happening here. But yeah, look, I mean, I think it's safe to say that Donald is not doing well right now.
The Epstein files don't matter. And here's what I mean. The people who support Donald Trump have supported him through hearing him say that he could assault women and grab them anytime he wanted because he was famous. The people who support Donald Trump have also heard him say that he would walk into the dressing rooms at his Miss America pageants to see women undressed. These are the same people who have heard him and seen him say that he could walk onto Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and still get their support, and they've continued to support him. These are the same people who know that he was convicted in a civil trial of sexual assault, who still support him, that he's been indicted on 30 plus accounts, that he's paid off a porn star, that he regularly spews hate. These same people who support him see him every day tell lies, see him tweet insane things. A lot of people don't even admit that these things that he tweets aren't insane. They call it jokes, which is funny because when you gaslight someone, one of the things that you use is to say that it's just a joke. You say incredibly awful things, and then you say, well, I was just joking. It was just a joke. Anyways, these people that support Donald Trump, I don't know what the reason is. I don't know if it's an overwhelming amount of fear that they have of the other, if they're so scared of America not being some version of America that never actually was, but is just being talked about. These are the same people who saw Donald Trump incite a riot on January 6th at the Capitol and try to call for and not argue about people threatening the vice president, his own vice president, his life. These are the same people who still support him. Why would the Epstein files be any different? Why would people all of a sudden open their eyes and be like, oh, I guess Donald Trump is a terrible person? If it hasn't happened now, I think you should stop thinking that there's going to be anything that's going to make people stop supporting Donald Trump. I don't know if it's fear. I don't know if they've been propagandized to the point where they can't see what's going on. I don't know if it's just they think that the left or the other side is so bad that anything that Donald Trump does is acceptable. But why would the Epstein files matter? I mean, I feel like there could be video released of him with underage girls and people wouldn't care and they would find a way to explain it away. So I think maybe people should stop hoping or stop waiting for people to turn on Donald Trump because of the Epstein files, because they haven't yet.
The Epstein email dump has left Trump and his White House completely paralyzed, and with good reason, because they don't know what is contained within all those documents. Serious questions are being raised as to whether the Epstein estate turned over all the Epstein emails and related documents to the DOJ. We know now that the House Oversight Committee did get records from Epstein's estate directly from the estate and not just from the DOJ. This has led to Trump doing a Truth Social post about this, calling for a new investigation. He's still calling it a hoax and blaming the Democrats and saying it's to distract from their shutdown. But he says he's asking Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with the FBI, to investigate Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton? Like, what? Wait. Epstein's relationship with Bill Clinton? Should it be that relationship? Or is he sure he wants to go there? He names others, and yes, they all should be investigated. Anyone involved with this should be investigated. But I don't think he really wants anything to come of this, because he's surely to pop up again. This just really appears to be Trump desperately trying to find a way to weasel his way out of this, like he always does. Only this time, I don't think it's going to be successful, because Republicans are starting to flip on him left and right, and he knows this, and he is losing power and influence hour by hour because of all of this. This is the stain that won't go away, and Trump's going to have to face up to all of this. Let me know if you agree. Let me know what you think about all this. Comment, like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Surely they're not dumb enough to say it out loud, right? Because it was almost exactly a year ago. I was actually wearing this shirt and hat when I did my most viral video ever on Extinction Burst. In that video, I pitched a theory that I really didn't expect to be validated out loud. If you're not one of the 13 million people who saw that video, let me catch you up. Extinction Burst is a concept from behavioral psychology. It describes a predictable response from people who are exhibiting destructive behaviors when the reward for those destructive behaviors is withheld or interrupted. This response is called the extinction burst. It's a short-term burst of energy, increasing the frequency and intensity of the negative behavior, which is now going unrewarded until the person eventually gives up and changes their behavior. In this video, I described this is what we're seeing from MAGA. A short-term burst in their anger and rage, because their anger and rage is no longer delivering the same outcome that it used to. As hard as they fight, non-MAGA people are still getting ahead. And despite their complaints about cancel culture, MAGA behavior is increasingly resulting in negative consequences. But to trigger an extinction burst, there still has to be a specific event that signifies to that group of people when their reward is withheld. Now, it's not rocket science, but in that video, I pinpointed the election of Barack Obama as that triggering event, because it was his election that sparked the Tea Party movement, the birther movement, and ultimately MAGA. These people realized that their quiet hate was no longer sufficient to support the systemic forces that once suppressed candidates like Barack Hussein Obama, so their rage exploded. But until now, this was just my theory, a theory now validated by a speech on stage at the Heritage Foundation. You know, the people who wrote Project 2025?
Because I watched Barack Obama win in this building, that was sort of the beginning of that insanity. And we've lived through that fever dream for the last 10 years, haven't we? With some of those cultural poisons that he foisted upon our nation, maybe because of our guilt, our Christianity, just being nice.
No, I gotta say, I kind of love that they're in the quiet part out loud era, because it is wild to hear a MAGA leader say on stage at the Heritage Foundation that a Christian husband and father of 2 girls, a president who was really a pretty centrist Democrat who just happened to be black, foisted cultural poisons upon our nation in a speech titled "Diversity is Not Our Strength," that is now published on the official Heritage Foundation channel, where he expresses bitter outrage at a Christian for expecting him, as a self-proclaimed Christian, to act like a Christian in the face of diversity. Fact is, these are the people who built today's Republican Party. These are the people leading the religious right. These are the architects of Trump's presidency. And these are the people who carefully crafted J.D. Vance's current preferred identity from a combination of the dregs scraped from the bottom of a public restroom trash can and low-grade polyester batting pulled from the cushions of a sofa found at the local thrift store. These are the people whose beliefs are going extinct. And yes, their burst is long, angry, and full of despair. That's because it's scheduled for deletion. So long as we don't let go and give up the fight to deny their hate the oxygen it needs to survive.
Can we all just collectively agree to fast forward now? Like, can we just do the and like move everything along? Because I don't want to do this anymore. I don't really care about all the salacious details that are going to be uncovered in the coming months, years, decades. I want him gone. I want everybody associated with him gone. I want his crypto gone. I want his assets gone. I want him out of the White House. I want him out of our public purview. I want everyone that's ever supported him out of politics in general. I want all of his supporters and their cult to dissolve. I want everyone to face the reckoning and the accountability for what they have wrought on this world. I want all of it done. I am tired of living through this saga. We've spent 10 years being slow-walked to this point from the moment that he descended that stupid golden escalator, and we had to realize that maybe, just maybe, this guy might end up being president. And now we are here. It is happening, and I am just ready to skip the last few minutes of this movie because we know how it ends. It's just a matter of time.
The Trump administration has mishandled this quite spectacularly. I mean, of course, as everyone knows, they promised they were going to release the Epstein files, and then there was that strange, sort of strangely announced joint statement from the FBI and the Attorney General Pam Bondi, the Department of Justice, I think I should say, saying, no, we're not going to release them, and the whole thing can really go away. To which the obvious response was, if there's nothing to see there, release the files.
I agree with you. And there's also a lot of miscommunication about whether there's a client list. There is a client list, but it was never written by Jeffrey Epstein. It was the FBI put together a list of people who were accused, and some of the names have been redacted. I know the names because I was involved in, obviously, the law cases, and there are still some names that have been redacted. So there is a list, but it's not a Jeffrey Epstein list. It's a list the FBI put together based on accusations made by people who they interviewed. That's the closest thing we have to any kind of a list. And we know some of the names on the list, and they're very prominent names.
He's a bottom? It makes sense. It literally makes sense. He's real fluffy. Was everybody having nightcaps with Bubba? I mean, goddamn. Hillary, I know why you pissed off, girl. I would have stepped out on him too, because not him frenemies and goddamn it, I can't even fucking think straight. Hold on. You mean to tell me y'all was frenemies? Y'all was frenemies? No, because, okay, I get it. Bill was definitely a top. Bill was definitely the top in that situation. But wigs are us, baby. You giving sloppy toppy? Oh my God. Jeffrey, you just keep dropping W's from the grave. And why does everybody have Bill's third leg in name? I need to know the time frame of this shit. Was the same time as Monica, or was it after? What else was going on these planes? Wait, Bill wasn't on the plane. Where was this at? And somebody said there were photos. You know, you don't have to send them to me because I don't want none of that stuff. But, you know, if you decide you want to post them somewhere, just let me know where you post them.
What do you mean Trump gave Bill Clinton a blowjob? What do you mean? What do you mean there are photos? There are photos that Putin has. What do you mean? I don't ever want to see those photos. Okay. And why is Bill Clinton's third leg in everybody's mouth but Hillary's? In fact, don't answer that question.
Putin has photos of Trump with Clinton, Bill Clinton. I don't know if this is a joke or not, but 2025 just cannot be real life. Mega. Can you be done now? Can you be done now? Come on. Come on. You hate this shit. You hate these pedos. You hate the gays. Your boy is both. Okay. Be done.
Holy mackerel, what a bad day for Donald Trump and Donald Trump fans. How are you guys justifying this? I mean, all these Epstein releases that the Republicans dropped yesterday, this is just the tip of the iceberg, but this shows he's been lying to you all along. And there's all kinds of communication that Jeffrey Epstein didn't even like Trump towards the end, talking about how he was not a good cell in the man's body. And he said something too, that he said, if anybody can take Trump down, I can. Why would Epstein say he can take Trump down unless what we all know and suspected and have been saying all along Trump is DOE 174. Trump is all over this Epstein file in the most horrific ways. Did you see Trump running from the press when they were asking questions? And then you got people like Megyn Kelly disgustingly online trying to justify pedophilia, saying that Epstein didn't like 14 and under, he liked them like 15. That is still pedophilia. That is still disgusting. That is still damaging to that child. There's no excuse. They're trying to normalize this because they know what's coming and they know who they've been protecting the pedophiles. They know it. So they're trying to justify their own action. Share your thoughts in the comments section or follow me for more.
We have some major news right now. Donald Trump is now begging Republicans publicly to stop talking about Jeffrey Epstein. He wants them to stop. He said in a new Truth Social post minutes ago, Democrats are doing everything in their withering power to push the Epstein hoax again, despite the DOJ releasing 50,000 pages of documents in order to deflect from all of their bad policies and losses, especially the shutdown embarrassment, where their party is in total disarray and has no idea what to do. Some weak Republicans have fallen into their clutches because they are soft and foolish. Epstein was a Democrat and he is the Democrats' problem, not the Republicans' problem. Ask Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, and Larry Summers about Epstein. They all know about him. Don't waste your time with Trump. I have a country to run. He is increasingly nervous. And folks, if it's a Democrat problem and Jeffrey Epstein was a Democrat and Trump could blame Democrats for something, you better believe he would have released the files by now. Just let that sink in. Spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along to stay up to date on all the news you need to know about.
Hey, so did anyone else notice that since those bombshell emails came out showing that Trump knew that Epstein was an abuser and that he himself spent hours alone with a victim, the administration has given up denying that he's in the Epstein files? After months of saying he had no idea, he wasn't involved, he stopped being friends with Jeffrey Epstein as soon as Epstein was convicted, now that these emails are out, they're not saying they're fake, they're not saying it's fake news, they're not saying that the Democrats came up with it or that it's AI, they're saying that the Democrats cherry-picked those emails to suit their narrative. Let's just start there. Is there any context that would make those emails okay? That you knew that your buddy was a sex trafficker and that you were spending hours alone in the room with a minor girl? But even if we set aside their half-baked defense, my real question is, why isn't this the only thing the media is talking about? Why aren't we seeking accountability for the fact that the President of the United States lied publicly and blatantly for months? This should be getting covered like Watergate, but because everyone has become so accustomed to him lying, it's an afterthought. Even when that lie is about the trafficking of minors.
Of all the things we've discovered and experienced on this horrific timeline, Donald Trump giving Bill Clinton the Gawk 3000 allegedly was not on my radar.
How you doing?
I know that all these emails have been released from the Jeffrey Epstein estate, which has revealed a lot of things. One email in particular said, ask him if Putin has photos of Trump blowing Bubba. Bubba referring to our former president, Bill Clinton.
Okay, well, this was really fun.
I mean, to be fair, Donald Trump's favorite dance is jerking off ghosts in public and playing the YMCA, which is America's gay theme song. So the two that are absolute dicks to each other in public can be tugging on each other's dicks in private.
Wow.
This just tells us America in this current timeline is the worst telenovela. It's not even a telenovela anymore. We've surpassed that. We are now in a Tubi film. What do you mean? What the fuck was going on at Jeffrey Epstein's house, Island Plain estate? What was going on? And honestly, I don't care who's in these files. Based on these little tidbits and breadcrumbs we're getting from these emails, I would literally like all the files to release. I don't care if every Democrat's on it. I don't care if everyone I've ever looked up to is on it. I don't care if Obama's on it. Release the Epstein files because we need to see what the fuck has been going on with these weirdos. You guys are public foes, but you're bro job bros. Peace out. Peace out, America. This is crazy.
So let's talk about this Truth Social post that Donald Trump just made about 20 minutes ago. If it's a Democrat, it's not a hoax. But if it's a Republican, it's a hoax. It doesn't involve him, but it involves lots of other people. His names are in them, but it's not real. The whole thing's a scam, and the only people that committed any crimes or did anything wrong are Democrats. So now his attorney general is now interested in diving very deep into these files, but only for the purposes of looking for his political opponents, not for looking for him. And like, if we have learned nothing about this president, when he says it's a hoax, when he says it's a scam, you have never been closer to the real truth, because he uses those words more than anything on two separate instances. Number one, when you talk about Russia, and number two, when you talk about the Epstein files. And both of those things are interconnected. He is panicking.
People voted for Donald Trump knowing that he was a horrible, vile human being. And I really want us to think about the things that he's done. I'm not going to recap, bitch, because we already motherfucking know. So just think in your head about one thing that you knew that he did that was fucking horrible. There was nothing that we can say or we could do to stop them from voting for Donald Trump. They voted for Donald Trump based off of no motherfucking logic at all. So if you think that they're going to release the Jeffrey Epstein files fully, and people's ideas and opinions of him and the facts around him are going to change their mind about the way they voted, it's not. They voted for him when he had 34 fucking felonies. If you think that his name being in the Jeffrey Epstein files, no matter the fucking nasty, disgusting things that he's done, is going to change their opinions on him or change how they felt about their vote, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to hold your hand and we're going to have this conversation, and I'm coming to you as a real girl. He does not give a fuck, and they definitely don't. If anything, they're going to say the files are fake. And they're going to say, well, yeah, we don't believe it. It could be in video proof. It could have black and white proof. Baby, it could have statements from 40,000 people telling them that they and he were there. Baby, my point this morning is stop trying to fucking reason with goddamn stupid.
If you can't find the Epstein emails online, I'm going to walk you through how to find them. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. I've gotten a ton of messages from my other video that people still can't find the website, and that the information that I have on the screen is not leading them to the website. So I'm about to flip my camera and I'm going to show you step by step how to find the emails. And I believe this is very important because we need to be looking at source information. There's so much inaccurate information out there. We need to, when we have the opportunity, be able to look at the source of the information so that we can judge for ourselves and we can come to conclusions on our own without being influenced by other people. So I'm about to flip my camera and we're going to get started. So we're just going to start with a good old Google search. So House Oversight Committee Epstein emails. So that's what we're going to search for because it's the House Oversight Committee that release the emails. We're going to go to the emails released by the Democrats also, but we're going to start with this. So this brings up house.gov, and then Oversight Committee releases additional Epstein estate. So click on that. So, and it says the documents can be found here. So click there. And this will take you to a treasure trove of documents. So let's just start with the first one. It says text. And if you open this file that says O2, and as you can see, this opens an email from is blacked out to gvacation@gmail. That's Jeffrey Epstein's email address. And then it says Jeffrey, and here they are talking about a Boeing deal involving an airplane. Interestingly, if you go down here, it says they talk about Donald Trump. He talks about Donald Trump a lot, and but that's how you get to the messages. So you see all these messages. You see all these messages. These are all messages related to the Epstein files. So let's go back. If you go to this file, which is 01, again, a lot of documents that you will be able to see and access. Let's just randomly open this one. This one is from July 17, 2016. It says subject 4, TV ads by the Trump super PAC, Get Our Jobs Back Inc., telling all corrupt Clintons, Jeff Epstein, child, little girls. And so you know, you can go in, you can read all of this. We're not going to read it right now. But this is how you get to the documents. And I'm going to go back to that main file. So there are different types of files here. So this says natives. Interesting. There were documents in this file the first day. It looks like they may not be there now. So this says images. I'm just randomly clicking on one, and I think it's images of documents. So you can see there. So I'm going back. This is how you find the information. So you can go back, you can play around on the website and find as much information, explore as much as you want to. So I'm just going to go back to the main folder here. And then, so that's how you find these documents. And it says a backup of the documents can be found here. Let's go to that natives file to see if okay, so it is here. For some reason, I couldn't access it over on the other site, but there you go. That's how you find it. So let me tell you how to find the Democrats site. For the Democrats site, notice I typed in Democrats Oversight Committee Epstein files. This is what comes up. Now, oversight.house.gov, that's the site we just came from. That's the Republican site. The one for the Democrats, it says house.gov, but oversight democrats.house.gov. And if you click here, it takes you to a press release that was issued by the Democrats, and it has 3 emails from the production. And you can see the 3 emails that the Democrats carved out of the entire production because they thought they were important for people to know about. And here are the full emails from those 3 that they carved out. So that's it. It's pretty easy to find these documents. So that's how you can find the documents. Happy reading. Let us know if you find something interesting. There's so many emails and so many documents. You may be able to discover something that the rest of us have not. I have not combed through them. I just kind of randomly look through. If I have time this weekend, maybe I'll do a more in-depth dive into them, but you all let me know what you find that's interesting in the documents, the Epstein documents.
We need to wrap up this Epstein conversation by December 31st. I don't want to hear nothing else about Epstein coming in 2026. I'm tired of hearing about him. I'm tired of hearing about everybody involving in the Epstein files, the Epstein rapture, the Epstein whatever. We need to wrap the conversation up because I'm tired of talking about him. I'm tired of hearing about him. I'm tired of anything Maxine or the girlfriend, the Trumpster, anything regarding into those files. We need to wrap it up by December 31st. Yep. Because right now it has been a burden to even hear. I'm tired of talking about him.
If you are dumb enough to believe that this is a Democratic hoax because Democrats released these Epstein emails, please, for the love of God, listen to this video. So the House Oversight Committee is ran by Republicans. Republicans hold the majority in this committee. Yes, they're obviously Democratic members. They are the minority. So the Republicans in the committee decide what is investigated, what is released, what is made public. But that doesn't mean that the Democrats on the committee can't discuss things that are brought up. So that's what they did. They put out a press release highlighting a few of these emails, while the Republican-led committee also released the exact same emails, but they were in a group of documents of about 20,000. So Republicans also released the exact same emails. The Democrats just highlighted it by putting out a press release saying, hey, Americans, you may want to pay attention to this. So no, Democrats didn't go release something all by themselves. Republican-led committee released the emails as well in all of the documents that they released, and the Democrats are the ones who said, these are important, we need to pay attention. There is no way you can call this a Democratic hoax especially in this situation, because Republicans also validated and released the exact same information. They just did it quietly, and I wonder why.
Oh my God, new bombshell release about the Epstein files, except it's the same fucking emails that we already had and a bunch of other documents from the Epstein files with a new redacted name that was redacted for no reason other than to create suspicion about, oh, gee, this is the person who's saying this, even though the person who is being talked about in those emails testifies like, Donald Trump was never on this island. Not that I can remember. When asked all these questions about if Donald Trump was ever on the island. Did he ever do anything on the island? Did you ever see him there? Not that I can remember. No, he wasn't. All this other stuff, right? Okay. And they redacted her name because it makes it look like it's new. And I hate to tell you this, the Democrats putting that out, the committee that put that out, that did that, is doing that to distract from the fact that Democrats folded on the shutdown. Instead of like, no, guys, we got us a win. We got the smoking gun. Remember, we're going to release the Epstein file. Remember, guys? Remember, even though we've had them for 4 years under the Biden administration, we never did. But like now we're really trying, and now it's all Donald Trump's fault. It's all a fucking racket. They're all on the goddamn list, people. Okay? Maybe we can introduce them to wood chipper, but I hate to break it to you, we're gonna need to get some new people into office. So when the elections come up, maybe the fucking people who have been there since the initial like push to get these files released, so like 2020 and up, maybe the people who have been there the whole time, maybe it's time to like, hey, you didn't vote to release them, so get the fuck out of here. Just remember that this coming election cycle, okay? In a year, all the senators, fucking representatives are all going to come up and they're all going to be like, okay, I voted to release them. You can just, literally all you do is check, did they vote to release them every single time? If the answer is no, get them the fuck out. That's what you have to do.
Boy, oh boy, Trump is panicking. And doesn't it show? See, he's over on Truth Social now calling Epstein a Democrat problem. As if the internet doesn't remember that Donald Trump was a Democrat and for many years, and that he and Epstein were so close that they were photographed partying, laughing, and even hosting events together at Mar-a-Lago. See, he thinks that you forgot that he said, quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. Likes women on the younger side. See, he thinks that you forgot Epstein was invited to Mar-a-Lago even after Donald Trump claims that they fell out. And he definitely hopes that you forgot the newly released emails showing that Epstein and Trump were still communicating as late as 2017, long after their supposed rift. So no, Donald, honey, Epstein wasn't a Democrat problem. He was your friend. He was your guest, your neighbor, your fundraiser, and your social circle. And the louder Donald Trump yells hoax, the clearer it is that he is terrified of what's in those files, because the people screaming the hardest are always the ones with the most to lose.